and welcome to round one coverage of the 2023 United States Disc Golf Championship presented by Innova. We're here at the Winthrop Arena Course, Rock Hill, South Carolina for the big major. You're watching JomezPro with Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling, and Paul Ulibarri.
I like how you said that, the big major. This is the Masters of our sport. This is the one that stays put every single year. I mean, I know the European Open has its thing going, but this is the 25th anniversary. This place has been here at the hallowed grounds at Winthrop for the longest time, and it's always just been the players' major, I feel like, in a way. It's set the stage for so many professional events that have followed in the years since the beginning one in 1999. But this course is always out here setting new rules, kind of changing the way that we see the sport and kind of progressing the sport in so many ways as we fly over this beautiful grounds here. History has been affected in a great way because of this place.
Yeah, let's look at Gannon Buhr here, who's going to be on our card. 2023, 41% Circle 2. That basically explains what kind of player he is. And that's statistic alone.
Yes, and the defending champion of this event.
Absolutely.
17 years old when he won last year. Youngest champion ever.
Anthony Barela trying to get on pace with a win of his own. He's been super close at the majors this year. He really has. It's going to be exciting to see him. And of course, we have a former champion in Nate Sexton, who played very well last year as well with a top 10 finish. Simon Lizotte.
Still going after his first. Has he won a major? Did he win like a?
No.
I don't think he has.
No,
so Simon Lizotte still chasing his first major title, and he's getting up there and players who have won the most tour events and not won a major. Him and Calvin are both right up there at the top of that list, I'm sure. As we fly over hole one, this is the beginning of the tournament for all time. I mean, has it always been from this tee pad? I don't know if 1999 was from this spot here, but it's been here since I've been playing, going back to 2008.
Just a classic little starting hole.
Always made a little more difficult by the rocks, the logs. Simon too high there, goes over the branches that generally going to slow you down, but finds circle one. He was fortunate.
You know, I just remembered that was the one year that we started on traditional 3.
I'm Nate Sexton. I live in Salem, Oregon, and I'm the team captain for Innova Champion Discs. Well, this is the 25th year of the USDGC, one of the most prestigious tournaments, maybe the most prestigious tournament in our sport. I think a lot of the things that players are used to now on the Pro Tour, from a player hospitality standpoint, from a professionalism standpoint, from a course design standpoint, a lot of that stuff was pioneered here at the USDGC. In a lot of ways, I think professional disc golf as we know it was invented here, because it was such a different feel tournament back in 2005, 2006. Those were kind of my first seasons coming out here. And I couldn't believe that there was an athlete area that only the players could go in, and there was free food in there, and they were giving us rides on golf carts where we needed to go. And it was sort of an eye-opening moment, like, wow, I really am I'm a pro athlete, I guess, you know, and they really made us feel special here. And thankfully, that kind of idea has sort of bled into what modern professional disc golf is. So I think a lot of that we can thank the USDGC for. I've had a few good runs at the USDGC, but the year that I came through and won it was 2017. The biggest victory of my career, one of the most special days of my entire life, something I'll never forget. It was kind of this moment where dropping in that putt, in that moment, all the decisions that I'd made that were sort of unconventional to become a professional disc golfer in a time when professional disc golf was not an established career path exactly. It was all validated in one moment where I just sort of washed over me and I felt like, wow, like it worked. As far as expectations this year, I feel like I can pick my spots out here. If I can throw the confident backhand, I think I can be in contention potentially on a course like this. It's not really distance heavy. It's about staying in balance, picking your spots, and making those putts when you have the opportunity to get birdies. Good luck to everybody this week. It's going to be a great 25th USDGC.
Our editors could have given me a heads up that you were going to cover everything that I said in my intro in your piece, but no, that was a great segment, Nate. Thank you.
Going with the old ratty here.
And you don't normally go forehand on this hole. correct?
I've toyed with the idea, but
Okay.
I think it does make me feel a lot more comfortable with that small gap to be able to go with that.
It was a great shot. Anthony Barela, what a season he's had specifically at the major championships. He has been in contention in nearly every single one.
Yeah, with shots like this, if it gets over that, which it does, over the log, bullseye, great start.
He's got so much power. We all know him for that. But he has so much finesse with it as well. Sorry, Andy Green. Didn't mean to talk over you there. Andy Green, the announcer, has called every single name in the history of the USDGC. Starting back in 1999, he's called over 10,000 names. He's probably closing in on 15,000 at this point.
Gannon, super overstable flex, got caught up in here, but he has a window.
Yeah, I remember the first time that I teed off on hole 1 as Nate lines up this putt. Very good start.
Great
That's a nice little distance to get the round going. Knock that down, carry some confidence into the rest of the course. You love getting to 1 under after the first hole because coming up there's some very tough holes.
There's way more USDGCs than I'd like to admit in my career where I did not birdie this hole in all 4 rounds.
And I've gotten 2 birdies in 1 try on hole 1 many times.
it's sneakier and tougher than it appears.
When my first ever shot, I guess a little trivia for you guys. I'll give you $20 if you can guess what disc I threw on hole 1 for my first ever shot.
2006?
Yep.
Qualified because you're the amateur world champion.
Right.
And you threw a Talon.
Predator.
Or a Pulse. I don't know. You tell
I
us.
threw a Z-flick.
Z-Flick. Very close to a Talon.
Very close. Very close. Hole 2, par 3, 409. One of the hardest holes on the course to get birdie. You're going to see a lot of people go on the right side with a low hyzer because of the power they have, but this does play 430 at least.
Ooh.
Simon's pulled it a little bit. This is
Oh,
safe,
good
but
finish.
well short. I mean, there's a circle 2 whisker over there by his disc.
Yep. And Simon's got the putt to give it a scare from that distance, but certainly a lot shorter than he had intended.
Nate's just lining up this sidearm, which is showing you how difficult this hole position really is. He's playing it for par. There is a way to get to the hole from left to right through the left gap, but that is a very dangerous shot.
And
throw.
You can also get there right to left with the forehand. It's actually a low ceiling, but that's probably the most likely way to birdie it if you are a lefty or a forehand player.
Ooh, this needs help.
And it gets it.
Wow.
Squares up that tree, stays
Is that
safe.
the Mando tree?
No.
The one short of it.
Well, beyond it in a way. The next tree up the fairway.
Is the Mando tree the shorter of the 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
But yeah, this hole, it demands a lot.
This looks great.
A low, accurate, powerful backhand that isn't allowed to skip or flip. So yeah, for me, that scares me right off trying for it. I tried it once and bogeyed it, and I'm not ready to try again just yet.
Good shot for Gannon. Birdie look coming from right around circle's edge, maybe just barely inside.
And nobody cares, but I went 90 deep.
Whoa.
With my Z flick back in 2006.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about this hole.
I was like, Yuli, we played together. That's not what happened.
AB makes a great little effort from 80 feet. Yeah, the Z flick was never thrown again.
Is that the one that I tried to throw across the lake and threw it midway?
Very possible. Very possible. Another bid goes awry there from Simon. This is a real good. What's up with the little step there?
He does like to go to that stepper sometimes. I don't really know why, because he has such effortless power there with the putt, but unable to get on the board after being the only guy to miss hole 1. Thought maybe Gannon would grab the birdie on 2, but unable to get it. Not a disaster start by any means to be even par.
It's the 5th hardest hole on the course, which
Oh, there you go.
is kind of saying something considering that, well, no, there are plenty of bogeys that you can take in that one. Left side, right side OB. Only 13 twos on the day.
Is this perhaps the hardest hole on the course?
Somehow it's not, and I think it's because it's so open. You have a lot of space. That obviously this left side here is out of bounds, and then there's a mandatory tree that you see right here on the right side of your screen. Aside from that, the only OB you can find past that is past that gap there, just into the road. So you're not finding a lot of OB
It just
strokes
doesn't
here.
have the blow up potential. USDGC is different than most courses in that the hardest courses of the event are always going to be the ones that can stick you with the triple, the quadruple.
This is by far the hardest hole to birdie, and I'm sure is the least birdied hole on the course.
Simon throws a beautiful hole.
That's as good as you're going to see it. Low, hyzer flip, driven on the inside, getting himself a decent angle. He's going to have a chance to either go forehand, skip shot, or maybe a backhand roller to try to get a look for the birdie.
And this is your typical play. Put it on hyzer so you don't hit those trees.
Yeah.
You know, 30, 40 feet from the OB on the left, and then you have all kinds of options.
Pretty conservative play, though. A very difficult angle to try to get anything towards the basket from there, but
I don't really have the juice to do much more with it. If you can do what this guy does, go high and push hyzer,
oh, wow.
then there's a potential to get beyond this last OB where we saw
That is
Simon
just
land.
such an insanely useful tool.
And that's past, that's beyond the drive of Simon Lizotte.
Which, geez, that's really big. Gannon has potential to get in that same realm.
And just the height that these guys are pushing out of that gap, allowing the time for it to swing left.
It's hurtful to throw such an aggressive shot and then get to your line and be like, I still can't do anything. And that's kind of what that zone gives you. A very good shot.
Yeah, that's...
Oh, wow. Just outside circle 2. Can't really do it much better from there.
Yeah, it got really good kind of nose up movement. Gannon laying down a trick shot roller here. Extremely flippy.
Oh, no way.
That's great.
What a throw. I mean, and as good as that was, just 3 feet inside C1.
And kind of in the trees.
Yeah, that was an incredible shot to get there, though.
And this is a good shot, but he needs to be tighter, more power on that.
Yeah.
Especially from the position that he's in. He had the option to do a little better there, I feel like. This is actually maybe a little more tucked. And
It
just
goes
too
wider,
wide.
yeah.
Actually needs to slow down.
Okay, just hanging on there. And he'll actually be first up. Pretty incredible grouping of second shots. Almost everybody inside C2, which is it's pretty remarkable on this one. You don't see many groups having birdie looks.
Giving it a little floaty bit.
Oh, let's go, Nate.
Giving it a floaty make.
Yeah, I was inspired by AB. At first I was thinking I should probably just lay this up. I thought, man,
Holding the
what
follow
I
through too.
fly all the way here for? I might as well send this a little bit. Simon off the cage.
That was a great bid from there.
Wow. Can we have 2 birdies on the same card? Are you okay? Well, here's the stats. There were 4.
Yeah, and we got 2 of them.
And
right
you
here
got
on
2 of
video.
them right here. That's incredible. 109 players. 4 people were able to get the 3, and you just saw 2 of them. And almost 3.
Yeah.
That's just
Almost 4.
incredible.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe it
really.
wasn't
Anthony
that
wasn't that
close.
far off. Yeah.
Or, I mean, that far, yeah.
This is just, you get to hole 3 and you're thinking, there's just almost nothing I can do. And aside from being one of those guys that you just saw to get the birdie here.
On to hole 4. Difficult little tunnel shot with the early mandatory on the left side. Can go straight up the middle, or if you like the forehand flex, there is an opportunity to try to escape the tunnel just around the mando tree. I'm going to give that a try right here.
Oh no! That's the gap you're going for, just not the height.
Yeah.
Such a narrow gap and has to be turned in at the perfect time.
Hit exactly the same spot as me, pretty much, and he takes a big kick out to the left. Pretty good kick, honestly. A kick to the right can get pretty serious, but out left, there's no problems.
Simon just barely off the mark. When there is wind present, hole 4 is a completely different animal. Right now, it's somewhat attackable. As you can see, the pine straw is not blowing that hard, and the conditions are nearly ideal. And geez, that's just the smallest amount of spin away from being perfect.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, 4 foot wider is still the smallest gap on the course, and you'd be parked. That's how difficult this is. Straightest shot you're ever going to throw right here. It's like a mini, what is it, BRP?
Gauntlet?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Hole 4 over there at BRP, famous hole. Dead straight, like
440 maybe.
Yeah.
And the standstill delivery this time. Okay, come on.
That bounced off the tree.
Come on. He goes jump putt from 35, but standstill 110.
That thing.
And banks it off the tree.
It came out of his hand, and I was like, wow, nice run, but it's short. And then just squares that tree and goes dead center.
How cool. How cool.
Watch this. Boink. Oh, and took a big old chunker out of it.
I mean, can you get kicked out of a tournament for that? I mean, that's destruction of a tree right there.
He gave it a little tap, though.
All right.
Fixed
okay.
it. He fixed what he did.
Replace your divots. I don't know if I've ever had anything like that happen to me in a tournament before. That's pretty cool.
Anthony has got no play for the basket from over there. That's why we said kicking to the right is a problem here.
We didn't mention that this was kind of a sloppy upshot there from Simon, and makes good from that distance, but that wasn't the best putt either, a little right side.
Yeah, I mean, you run into some troubles there with that tree inside the bullseye.
Here we are telling AB, because he didn't get the good fortune of seeing that incredible bounce-in shot, being over there on that right side. He's like, what happened? Why were you guys going so crazy? Well, he made a 100-footer, and it bounced off a tree. That's why.
Robert Burridge off to the hot start, 3 under through 4. Not a lot of birdies in those first 4. Finding 3 of them, that's incredible.
Hole 5, par 5, 1,025. Obviously pond on the left, road on the right, with all those sticky little trees over there as well. There's a mandatory, so you have to go over this water right here on your third shot, or for some people on your second shot. Sidearm, hyzer for your first tee shot, sometimes a buzz turnover or mid-range, whatever you choose, and you do see some rollers from time to time. This is the Arizona hole, so it holds a special place in my heart.
How many holes in the world are more famous than this one?
I mean, this was like the first really great par 5 that I'm aware of.
Yeah, it might be. I mean, hole 17 arguably is maybe as recognizable, but I think hole 5 is, for me, hole 5 is the hole of the USDGC.
I would totally agree with you.
Yeah, I think hole 17 is definitely more famous.
Yes.
Just because of the things that have happened on it and how it's changed
Look
really
at
the
this.
course of history for a lot of players. But hole 5 is, I mean, you can't design a better par 5. You really can't.
Going back to an old school design philosophy that Stan McDaniel had. He had a part in the co-designing of this course back with Harold Duvall in the original days. But the philosophy being that the pro should be able to control 3 shots of at least 350 feet on par 5s. And if you add those up, that's 1050. So you should give yourself a look for birdie if you can control 3 shots at 350. Obviously, the game has gotten longer since the original design, but this hole still holds up.
They did push this basket a little bit farther back as well.
Yeah, it's so close to the water now.
I mean, infinitely closer, it seems like. It's such a tight landing zone on that third shot across the water.
Simon shows you a common second shot play for backhand dominant players to take the big high hyzer with a super overstable disc so you don't glide to the water. Gannon doing the same thing. Look at this thing just knife down, hardly any skip. So even though it's a little counterintuitive to play the big left swinger towards the water, using that angle to make sure the disc gets to a stop. Super vertical here from Barela.
And that should be set up nicely and a little extra roll to get him closer to the water. Even though this is a tighter landing zone to the water on the left, I think it really only hurts the forehand players. The backhand players have more room on that right side to swing the hyzer in versus where the basket used to be. But that's a nice shot controlled down the left side of the water, getting you as close as you can really get for your third shot going across the water.
Gannon looking skyward here.
Watch
out.
Oh, no.
Watch out. That mandatory on the corner.
Did he make it?
No, that did not make it.
Nope.
Missed mandatory. I have not seen someone miss a mandatory on 5.
So yeah, the pole is.
And maybe ever.
The pole, it's like it would have hit it if it was. I feel like if it was but then that means it would have been on the right side of the pole too.
It would by these new rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's splitting it, then it's a miss.
Yeah.
Okay. Group agrees.
Ew. This is
So
kind of...
just as I said, it actually opens up a bit more for the righty backhand shot coming in. We see two players kind of struggle with the shot. This is looking pretty good, or is this long? It's hard to say.
It's just slightly long, but that's where you want to throw it, I feel. Safest spot to put the disc. Slightly closer, obviously, would be better.
I mean, you're looking at 16 feet from the basket to the edge of the water.
What's your play here? Are you trying to throw it to circle's edge, or are you trying to play it out over the water?
I want to be about 20, and I put it about 40. You know, but I'm not trying to land at the base of the basket, that's for sure. I'm trying to hit about 15 to the right of the pin. This is the drop zone for that missed Mando. So Gannon with an opportunity to make single bogey with that circle one putt.
It's a good shot from there. A shot I'm sure he has never practiced.
One rare thing about this course is you see Simon just lay this one up because that flag isn't moving. It allows you to be a little bit more aggressive towards this pin. Very calm day out here at Winthrop.
Yes.
And that misses left, but stays in bounds.
Yeah, I was pretty
That's
worried.
hard to do.
I was worried with the speed he putts with when that thing came out.
And a good bogey save for Gannon. But yeah, it's hard for AB, the way that he putts, to miss a putt chain high and not go out of bounds from where he was. Maybe he took just a bit off to control the speed. And either way, he is in the basket for a 5. Never a bad score here on the 5th hole. Playing just above par at a 5.04 and pretty even distribution of birdies, bogeys, and pars.
Burridge still getting going. 4 under. Picking up the birdie on the 5th as well. Great start.
He's had a great season.
Looking at hole 6, the famous beach hole, as it has this nice white sandy green area. The OB on the right side defined by these rocks. Obviously the water on the left, the rocks long as well. If you do go out of bounds, your reward is a 45-footer directly at the water.
What disc do you have there?
Oh, I'm going to my trusty Big Jerm Thunderbird here.
Okay.
Don't love it. A little bit short.
Yeah, that's got to get some speed here at the end.
I think it caught a little bit of that pillar.
Wait a second. You're in bounds.
I'm parked.
And all that talk that we had before the round, that wait till you see what happens on.
It hit a post.
I thought you got at the post and went out of bounds. You guys didn't tell me you stayed in bounds.
I sure did.
Well, you throw a good disc, you get good results.
That's what I think too.
This is a very fun line. Inside out hyzer.
Don't see this one very often.
Wait for
Oh,
it.
come on, Simon. What a shot. Such little airspace up there.
Yeah, it's like this high stall.
So close to hitting those bricks, though. You hit those bricks, and
True.
they're gone.
True.
And this is tight on the hyzer, but he's got the power. Can he get to the beach? Yes.
It was almost like a good little flare forward off,
Yes.
off of whatever he hit off that first skip.
I don't think the disc was nearly as overstable as I initially had thought when the disc came out of his hand. So good disc selection.
Flex line from Gannon, his preferred play. Does it slow down?
4 players on the sand. That is a rare sight.
Yeah.
I think I like the way Gannon played it the most. Annie out of the hand, pulling it away from the out of bounds line, getting stable in front of the OB deep.
That's definitely his preferred shot shape.
Yes.
He really likes the overstable slight flex.
I kind of like Nate's play.
I like the result of my play, but I don't like the feeling in my heart right after I let the disc go. That's uncomfortable.
How shocked were you when they said when they showed the green flag?
Well, after I released it, I pretty much was like, "Yep, short. That's short. Bye. Oh man, red flag." And then he put up green. I was like, "Man, that's a great break."
Yeah.
And I knew it must be in the sand somehow.
Yeah, sure.
At that point, I didn't know what happened, but yeah, then they told me it did take a little hit off of one of those. But it wasn't actually as it didn't change the trajectory as much as I was expecting to see.
Yeah,
I thought it was
just
gonna
a
be
little
even
tiny
more
tick.
of a save.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have made it. I don't know. I'm going to choose to believe it could have.
That was the first hole that we have played that actually had a higher birdie percentage than par.
Hole 7, par 3, 284. Got to go through the gate. Simple as that. If you miss it, you get beyond that bamboo, you go to one of 2 drop spots that basically guarantee bogey.
Oh, that last hole's called the Florida hole, which is cool because of the beach.
White sand
Sure.
beach. It seems like they're trucking that sand in from Florida, the color it is.
And that was a cool shot of the new Zuka Lounge here with the elevated tee box, a new feature here on 7. Going with the classic wide hyzer play. Is it going to hyzer enough in time? No.
Not nearly. It was too. The shot shape is good. It's just too wide. So my aim point was the problem there. I like the power. I like the swing it had. I just put it out too much left to start. But thankfully, hit the wall, not taking a penalty.
Well, there's nothing this can do besides that.
Yep. Absolutely perfect.
It's always a good feeling. A good look at the gallery protected from the sun in the big tent there.
I think he's got pretty good form.
I hate it.
Something he's doing is
I
working.
hate his form.
That's for sure.
No, I'm kidding. It's one of the best ever.
Didn't we see Anthony bounce
Yes.
ace this once?
Oh, no, that was Austin Turner who bounce aced it. I think
okay.
AB just straight up
aced it.
pured it.
Yeah.
Drew Gibson pured it. Silas Schultz pured it.
It's a pretty crazy ace. I mean, you have to
It's
just get it
so crazy.
underneath the height restriction.
Well, I think AB's was actually like basket high the whole way. Didn't look like it had a chance to stay up as long as it did. And Gannon Bird parks it with a turnover line. But the other ones are just barely going underneath.
Yeah. I think the way that Nate plays it and
Uh-oh.
no.
That is seriously unforced error right there.
Trying to make it, I think.
Yep.
Trying to push that ceiling, and now you're going to have to do the same, but you're kind of come close to it.
It's kind of hard not to. I mean, you try to get around that corner. You don't want to leave yourself too much. Anthony just outside the circle.
He's got to make this one to avoid a serious gaffe.
And he does.
That's the putt that we have been very familiar with this year with Anthony Barela and majors.
But what I was going to say is I would be very surprised if you aced it, Nate, because you're playing the hyzer, but you have aced this hole in the past.
Yeah, before the rules. Oh, man. Before the rules changed, when you could go up and over the top.
Yeah, the original construction of the bamboo used to be much taller bamboo on the left and right side, and it had an infinite ceiling down the middle. There was no triple mandatory.
How many times is he going to put it?
What are they discussing there, Nate?
They were talking about that the chains just sound different these days. There's a couple of old guys just talking about the chains just don't sound like they used to sound.
Gannon was 1 the first time I played this course. 1 years old. Literally.
Speaking of rules changes, though, kind of an advantageous rules change in that scenario we saw for Anthony and I. It used to be not long ago that you would have to orient your mark to the mandatory, and then you wouldn't be able to straddle out wide towards the basket. That is no more. Now you're marking
always to the basket,
regardless of any mandatory situation. In that situation, and on that hole specifically,
that helps
kind of a big deal.
Helps a bunch. Hole 8, there is a hazard area on the right side delineating the fairways between 16 and 8. Simon going with the hyzer line just into position, not necessarily getting a lot of distance, but he'll have a good alley on his second.
This is one of those holes that is just like, the trees are perfect to where whatever shape you would like to throw, it's a tight shape, but you can choose to throw it. You know, like if you like to throw the flex blade, it's perfectly shaped for that. If you want to throw a hyzer sidearm like this, there's a gap right there for you.
Well, thanks to that tree that I don't think you can see in that angle there, but there was a tree, a significant one that used to block the hyzer forehands that has come down since the 2022.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. You can see the stump far left side of the screen that opens that gap up in a pretty big way. Anthony's coming just in front of that stump we're talking about.
And the farther right you go, the harder the angle starts to get with your approach. But this is a dealer's choice. I mean, you got roller, forehand. You're not going to see too many backhands get up there with a look.
I think this is a little overflipped for Gannon, but the players that do like to go roller second, distance is not critical at all for the tee shot. Like Simon could clearly bite off more, but I don't know that that makes his roller any easier. So I think he's pretty content to kind of go mid-range type distance and then lay this down.
Is this flippy enough? Not quite.
Ooh, careful. There are holes in this little guy.
Yeah, there is that one right there, but he stays safe.
AB, that's a little higher than the ceiling allows, and that knocks down. And are you going X-Cal?
Yes.
Okay, and got to get this low.
Yeah, just saw AB throw it high, so I knew I couldn't throw it high, and then I did.
Big mistake there.
It is a tricky little spot.
This is tricky right here.
Yeah, this is not easy. Because you can get it around.
And then find yourself in there.
And it can roll.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of bad things can happen from this spot.
And the Winthrop crew is just not interested in trimming these little bushes down by the green. Like, they are letting this stuff grow out. Let's see what this becomes in 5 years, they're thinking. And it's getting pretty gnarly up there. Pretty fast.
Up here by the fence. Gonna try to send this little forehand. Gotta watch his angles.
Uh-oh.
Yeesh. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Such a fast approach. And you got to throw that with a straight disc. You cannot throw something that's overstable. If you do, you'll likely find a result like this.
Yeah, you risk that happening.
Or you need to put a little anhyzer on it.
Yeah.
Even then.
To match the angle coming down.
As short as that is, he has no need, I feel like, to go overstable there. Even with the anhyzer, you could go with a straight shot just to match the slope, and you never want to stand up on hyzer. It's going to be a mistake that he'll think about.
Yeah, you might as well kind of give it some height with some spike and try to make it. Because you're just rolling the dice.
At that point, sure. Or just send it, and this bush behind the basket will catch it. Par for you. Good up and down. Well, a relatively tough birdie to get. 407 average. Only 18% of the field. Again, these are 18% of... I mean, this is just like the playoffs. I mean, every player here has to qualify either through tournaments or through Monday qualifying, and everyone's got the merit to be here. So 18% is a pretty small percentage of this field.
Is 9 the easiest hole on the course?
Second easiest.
Okay. Well, it's a par 3, 362. This is all out of bounds right here with a little island. Yeah, you can see deep where those bushes are. That's out of bounds. So 362 hyzer. For some reason, they planted these little fake trees in front of you, just to put them there so that you could just see them.
It's because it's a it's a Christmas spirit thing. I think it's just kind of, it's the holiday season. Just kind of comes around, and you just gotta kind of get into it.
Like you would think that they would just like block the hyzer with it and be like,
but
haha.
But they leave. Yeah, they block the straight shot.
Yeah.
Basically, is what they do.
They block the shot no one would ever throw. Maybe. This has got to go though, Nate.
Yeah, this is a little lazy.
And you are going to hit the rocks. The OB line is about another 2 feet beyond those rocks. So even if you had gotten over, you still would have needed to.
If I got over, I would have been in. But
yeah,
I'm not trying to clear it by an inch. It was a mistake. No. It was a poor shot.
AB a little soft, but just barely getting over.
Overstable mid-range he's going with right there. And this is an overstable putter, 362.
Probably not coming out with hyzer.
Yeah, that thing is so stable.
Still a lot wider than Gannon would like to be here. This is going to be deep C2 or mid C2. Can't quite see from that angle. And this is the infamous drop spot here. The putt is so tough.
Yeah. Hard to go after it with a full commitment because you just know you're going to be 30 on the other side with the tall basket, having to go under the low ceiling with some speed.
Gannon having to do that. What a putt that was.
Jeez. Made that look easy, didn't he?
And, you know, a lot of players probably would have stood there and delivered just a fast putt, but because Gannon has such a nose-down putt at times, he got down to the knee to give the putter more height so that it could then drop in. Very well executed birdie putt. Once again, AB is true on the green.
AB with a very clean scorecard right now. I like the way that looks on a course like this.
The hard thing is continuing that to the back nine. 9 being the 17th easiest, 10 being the 18th easiest. So, the
easiest is 18th, one way to say it.
17th.
You could just say the easiest.
You know, UDISC gets me because it says 17th difficulty, so it throws you backwards. But either way, these are the top 2 easiest holes on the course, 9 and 10.
Shout out to my boy Tom right there, who's been the spotter on that hole for years and years and years.
15 years in a row, you think he said.
I always feel like I let him down when I don't get the birdie there. So it's good to see him smiling on coverage. What a 9 though, guys. What a 9.
Yeah, Robert Burge, 7 under, really setting the early pace.
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's hot.
Some great golf being played by him. Still 9 more holes to go for our first round of the United States Disc Golf Championship, though. And that back 9, as we always say, kind of a tougher 9.
Oh, by far.
A lot of pitfalls, a lot of places you can really get yourself into serious trouble or make a big move up the leaderboard if you're precise.
If you play the back 9 on this 18 well, you are going to jump up the leaderboard. And you could play an okay front 9, but if you kill the back 9, you are going to be making up some serious strokes on the field.
Thank you to the Founders Club for all their support of our coverage. We're going to be right back with the conclusion to round 1 of the United States Disc Golf Championship.